Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful morning. It's already real hot. I am still in a social military cult. I'm still a white woman in her late 20s. And I am still washing every day, washing my belief out of the pain matrix system into expanding the pleasure matrix system. What is the pain matrix? It is the ritual abuse death cult that has been in charge of society for the last, thousands of years. And, I say thousands, but the timeline is specific. And there was about 1,000 years of millennial reign, as they say. But anyways, and it runs the pain matrix on a 96% pain ratio for a 4% promised pleasure. Usually that reward after exhaustion, or the weekend at the end of the work week, or the inebriation that comes when you need to finally just be completely unconscious, or just lots of it's a cycle. It's a very certain type of cycle that you repeat over and over again, no matter which specific ways you choose to encapsulate it or whatever. And then the pleasure matrix is a 4% pain up front, the pain of growing, the pain of melting through to something, the pain of becoming more human and turning on your human DNA further and further in ways that has been programmed to be shut off over time. So, what am I talking about today? I am continuing to talk about masculinity, the destruction of it. The pain matrix was created to, among all kinds of things, destroy both the healed masculine and the healed feminine, but it uses the toxic feminine as an in to destroy the more difficult to destroy healed masculine. And I talked about yesterday with the story of Adam and Eve, and I guess before I go anywhere, make a wash of belief. If you have not done that before and don't know what it is, washing belief, it is what I do every day by harvesting ego to going live about the topics that I have things to process about and that are uncomfortable for me. It is washing your financial belief. That is how most people start, or social washing, time washing. If you're on this live and watching, make a financial wash. You can send those washes in multiples of 12 to cash.me/$washitall, paypal.me/washitall, or laundruss@autumat.me for Zelle and applepay. Now the goal is $9.80 today. I grew up, as I was saying before, in a completely feminine-dominated household and genetic line for the past 4 generations. Sorry. Whew. And it made me a very perfect tool for the destruction of the masculine. In fact, most of the male relationships I did have, I sought out. I didn't have any from any strong familial masculine relationships. My father had died. I had no grandfathers as a baby or an adult, or any uncles I was close to, or my mom never remarried, So when I did seek out the masculine, I sought out the destroyed already masculine, or easily controllable and destroyable masculine, because that is what I was comfortable with, because I had not been around real masculine force, or seen how the masculine and feminine balance each other out or can attempt, a healthy balance in the pain matrix. I know most relationships are a fraction of what they could be if not for the programming everyone endures from birth and beyond. But, you know, I didn't even have a chance at it. I didn't even see, like, to be clear, I had seen it as a young kid, 10 and before the age of 10. But I had especially a trauma around my father in my life, and I was just seeking out, like, the men I could destroy, because I was a control freak, and I was afraid I had abandonment issues, and I was not used to, even with my history, I was not used to what the masculine really is when not cucked or controlled by the feminine, because that was my family life and history, and it is most people's, because that is, especially in the late stage of pain matrix decline, what is happening to the masculine. That is what is happening in every way, some more obvious and pronounced than others. So, like, I was with men that were very easily, like, seduced by the feminine in terms of being shamed or controlled or beaten down, really, into a certain type of submission that was the political correctness that the feminine runs in the pain matrix, that white women run in the pain matrix, to be extra clear and specific, and which all other women follow suit of the white woman frame in that regards. And I actually had, and I'm going to go into this part of my past a little bit on this part too, I believe. I had an example, God giving me, like, a very specific experience that I think helped me a lot in hindsight, but that I probably didn't handle very well in the moment, which was my first serious boyfriend, Christopher, the one who, from the stories, you know, we both got gang stalked by the FBI, him with the brunt of it, and he eventually self-murdered, and he was my first serious boyfriend. He was a lot older than me. There are things I will not even go into on this live about him and the masculine, which is, it's not ready for that portion. It's like throwing a grenade in an already complicated thing, talking about, like, elite gender inversion, and, like, it's just, I'm not going to go there. But basically, he was a grad student at SAIC while I was an undergrad, and he was the type of person who said what was on his mind. He had already been in the cult of Mormonism and left, so he was used to, like, thought paradigms shifting and, like, having the humility to say you're wrong about something. And I was coming from a strictly liberal hipster upbringing, and I was very brainwashed in a very specific type of way, and schooling, and an art school in particular, had only exacerbated it. And when I met him, I was pretty deep in the throes of the, like, the queer, like, feminist retardation of, like, being a young, entitled, arrogant white woman. And you don't have to be white to be in this pipeline, but I'm going to talk about my experience with it as a white woman, because a lot of my friends were in this pipeline that were not really even real friends, that I, like, cared about for the wrong reasons, were really, really, like, leftist, black, queer hipsters from, like, Brooklyn and Queens that had relocated to SAIC in Chicago for school. But I was like, okay, I'm down, I'm gonna be, like, I'll be queer, whatever. And I had all of these moments where, and this is how I'm gonna describe, like, cognitive dissonance and brainwashing, and, like, when you can tell you're programmed and the program is getting, like buzzed or something, and you're like, wait, what? like, I had all these experiences where in my gut I felt like something was wrong and I did not feel comfortable, but it made, my reaction was to, like, lash out and be angry at the thing that was bumping me and making me feel like maybe something was wrong, or making me feel like called out that what I was doing was stupid or was not the right thing to be doing to be human and like a human connected person. And I remember Christopher he was old enough, he was not of my generation that has completely destroyed masculinity to usher in what this next generation is doing with it, which would not have been possible without millennials saying, all right, Satan, on it. Like, the women of this generation will destroy the last remaining masculine, and the men will become, they will let it happen. And yeah, so Christopher was more, he was 31 when I met him at 19. Like, he didn't know how old I was. He thought I was in the grad department when we met. I didn't know he was that old either, because I thought grad students were, he looked younger, whatever. But he did not have shame around dating someone when he did find out my age younger than him. Everyone was shaming us about it, though, that's for sure, including my mother. But what happened with him was that he was thrown into the belly of the beast of this type of, like, cultural, like, shift. And I'll say shift, and I hate talking about culture like there are, like, camps and political sides and things, because it's all Satan. It's just, he comes in many different forms to, like, pit different factions against each other and make y'all think, like, there's something different happening. But, like, when he came into SAIC, that was like a place where everyone was, it's just all of the worst qualities of this program to become, like, woke and radical and, like, open to anything, and, like, all men are evil, and just to exist as a man is wrong, and we have to make places safe spaces, and, like, you can't have any white people here or men there, or if you're not queer, you're trash, basically. And, like, you have to be an individual with all of these things wrong with you. You have to be a victim in order to have, like, breathe earth air and not feel guilty about it. And so, like, Christopher saw so much of it that I believe it just radicalized his opinions to the point where he, and especially probably because he was seeing a lot of how me and my friends acted, which was horribly bratty, like, bratty white bitches in their early 20s that were gung-ho and talked such shit about men for no other reason than them being men. I think he was around that, and I believe he even said, like, some of that led to and contributed to it, but it was also around the time that, like, shit was happening online. It was 2015, 2014, and he, like, went full men's rights activist when I was still the opposite of that, and thought that term even, which is why it's so, like, clever to create terms in these movements or whatever to, like, keep people in their thought prison areas in opposition or whatever to each other. But this term to me meant evil and, like, horrible just upon hearing about it. And the things he would start to bring up, because he would talk about it with me, he'd be like, listen, I'm just saying that, like, men are not all evil, we're not bad for existing, there are issues that face men that we should talk about, and why can't we talk about the issues that face men? They have higher rates of suicide. They are the ones that go to war. They are the ones affected by the economy in certain ways, that they are being beaten down in very real ways by the way things are turning and heading, and they experience like all of these things that your brand of feminism and like the higher education pipeline and the like woke pipeline is just saying that doesn't matter, and to even talk about that is to be anti-women. And things are way different now, but if you remember, like in 2014, that shit was not talked about, and you did get like canceled and ostracized even for talking about it. And I guess I want to keep and bring this back to me and my feelings about masculinity and my history and past and whatever, with where I've led to it now and all that shit. Because what happened whenever he would bring it up is I would get so angry. I would feel so uncomfortable. I would say like, oh my god, I can't be with this person if they're talking like this. All my friends, because he was not scared. He would talk on Facebook all the time about it. He was an artist and had this like sci-fi cult, like that was an art project that he had a website for, that was like all these watercolored drawings that looked kind of like K Records, Kyle Fields style. And he made one of those sites for men's rights. And so it was very public what was going on. And he's bipolar and being gang stalked, so he's like also having a lot of shit happen to him that's like making him, you know, be really like gung-ho about things. And like, he did not do himself any favors. Not to say that like looking back now I can understand all the things he was talking about and the real issues he was being brave enough to stand up and talk about, fight for life, rather than go along with the death program of all of the like white women administration of SAIC, the white women like arbiters of the culture and the woke ideology. Like, he was doing a very masculine thing by taking a stand and standing for life rather than the death cult. And everyone was trying to cancel him, and all of my friends, and I'm like 19 or 20 at this point, 20 maybe, like, are saying, are you gonna stay with this guy? And that was like, a lot of things were contributing to me wanting to not be in that relationship anymore, but that was one of them. And it wasn't because, this is what I mean, like, I would shut down when he brought up these arguments, and I would get angry because I knew I didn't have an argument, and it was just that it made me feel angry because I had a programming. But my friends shamed me. I was so embarrassed. And that's how you know it's not about truth. It's about PR. And I was at a school with a very specific PR and a very specific role in the degradation of all things, the satanic, like, degradation of all things, including the destruction of masculinity, and including way more other very nefarious things that I'm not saying all of these people and boards knew exactly what they were doing. That's not how the military-industrial complex works. Every separate part has its role and is so divorced from the agendas that they don't know a lot of the times what they're doing, and they're just programs. They're bots on a program, and the program is destroy masculinity, destroy the family, destroy people's relationship to their body and sex, destroy reality, destroy it as hard as we can, and leave people lost and ready to accept the mark of the beast, or just the Antichrist system that replaces all of the things that we've destroyed, and all of the things that are remnants of a human being connected to God type of shit. And so, yeah, like, that was the first time I was starting to be challenged about very specific things with feminism. And this is the thing about being a white woman. You do what's easy, you do what looks good and looks like the PR, which is Satan is the PR that you're aligning yourself with to be acceptable. And I was doing that, and so I knew deep down in my heart, through how I was feeling when confronted with things about the queer community that I was aligning myself with, and with the feminist community and the artistic community. I knew things were wrong deep down. The cognitive dissonance makes you feel a certain way. When your programs are hit and triggered, it makes you feel a certain way. But I did not choose to delve into it, or have the humility or the bravery, which is the standing for life thing. It is not really a feminine trait. That is why Satan uses the feminine to get to destroy the masculine. So, and when there's enough masculine out there to stand for life and to be a perimeter and to be a structure, women, when not full on lusting to destroy, when their programming is not too far gone, they will follow the masculine. We are emotion, and we are a lot of feelings that, with a container that can contain that, a perimeter that can make us feel safe, we won't go crazy, and it can be a divine feminine. But so that this part of my relationship where I was getting so angry about the things he was bringing up, he would bring things up, my boyfriend, he'd be like, why would you turn away these white men from Croatia or Macedonia, that are your neighbors, when you're having a queer house party that your black friends are saying no straight white men allowed? That is wrong, Emily. That is being prejudiced. That is being a dick. And I was like, no, fuck you. And I was so angry, but I was just I don't know why I'm angry. And those are my friends. They're cool. The Macedonian dudes that hang out in the alley and we smoke together. And but I'm I betray my queer community and open people up to the possible violence of talking to a white man. I'm just giving you a little example of being in the belly of the beast, where I was at in college, 19, 20, 21. And Christopher did not kowtow, he did not bow down. He said when he thought something was wrong, and a lot of examples were given. He was like, you and your friends talk about men in this way, it's fucked up. You and your friends think men are evil. Why? What? I'm a man. And honestly, it kind of reminds me of, I don't know, a lot of white women now who I think see things. I think they see where things are at with what was once and is becoming less and less so the dominant culture around how you act and what's acceptable or not, and what you not even just believe, but what you front as your beliefs to be in line with things about masculine versus feminine, about sex, gender, whatever. And there's some things that I probably will go into on another live about this, the Phoenix Order, the left woke ideology versus the right, the new right, or the old right, or the whatever right, the kind of libs of TikTok versus the total has every flag in their bio, him, her, she, they. Those two camps are being so pitted against each other right now on purpose to usher in very specific things that have been planned for a long fucking time. And so I don't, and as a representative of DayLife Army does not identify with the left or the right. It's just two wings of the bird, it's just two sides of Hasatan, the great Satan, with the more Luciferian side and the more, that's Phoenix, and then the more Golden Dawn, Hasatan side. And the Luciferian side is a very, very, I would just like, you know what, I'm making this too much not about me. I don't want to get into like just trying to like teach people about shit. That's boring. I guess just what I wanted to say was there are really, really low down, dirty, rotten, horrible fucking things happening on the left. The left are being used as tools to usher in really terrifying shit for children, for adults, but especially for children. But the right is a feint. It's a fake out, and what they want, what the greater system wants, is to create as much chaos and pitting these sides against each other as possible. And the end result is it's gonna be a fake out. You're gonna think you're like, everything will be laid low from the left or whatever, from Phoenix, to make you want to identify with the right, which is just a more convincing side that is less into like sacrificing children and more just into like perhaps bodies going into the furnace of any age, and less about the like pedophilia, but still more, you know, bunch of other shit. It's Satan still. I can't even see because it's so like the sun is in my eyes. I think I'm like pretty much done with part 2 of my experience with the masculine. I don't know if I'm titling this Destruction of Masculinity. I'm certainly still programmed to destroy masculinity. I am not at the level of like where I was at in my early 20s. But the unconscious programs still run they're super strong and they're hard to break. And the victim program is a part of it. I talked about that program and I'm working through that one. I'm a lot better than I used to be. But I think that's it for now. Make a wash of relief. Cash.me/$washitall. PayPal.me/washitall. Multiples of 12. Share this live. Comment on this live. That is social washing. There are other ways to social wash as well. If you'd like to know about them, you can DM me. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. Have a beautiful day. I saw a bunch of little snails on my walk over here that were leaving little slimy trails all over this sidewalk, so I'm gonna go look up what snails mean. Bye.